Thank you for landing with me today. We're going to be talking about setting up a meditation journal, a possible setup, some options for it, and then, of course, um, what it can look like over time. So, the first thing I'll say is that I gravitate towards something simple and basic, like a composition notebook and a dark pen, sometimes blue or purple, but definitely something dark to write with. Get something that works for you. It can be a beautiful journal, it can be a collection of colorful pens, glitter gel pens, whatever. As long as it's something that's going to bring you joy and that you'll come back to over and over again and use consistently. So if you have a beautiful journal, I think it's time to use that. I'm going to talk about this setup because this probably seems like a lot. Let's start with the date and the time. I like to hold myself accountable, and part of a journal's function is accountability. It's an artifact, it's a record of your hard work. So I put the date and the time. Now, the time is actually really important because every chapter of your life is going to allow you to land in a different way. So, for instance, when I had my kids, I had to meditate in the morning. I either could meditate really early, first thing in the morning, or I could meditate very late at night after everyone's gone off to bed. What I found was that if I waited for nighttime, I was tired. I was really worn out and I didn't have it in me to meditate. Sometimes I actually just fell straight to sleep. So the first thing in the morning actually worked really well for that phase, that chapter of my life. And then it became a habit. Now that can change over time. I love meditating in the morning, but there are days where I could use a reset in the evening as well. So pay attention to this. You'll see a pattern emerging over time. Location. Where do you like to meditate? And really get curious about that. We're here to play with this practice and really make it functional for us. I have learned over time, I love meditating in my bed first thing in the morning. In the afternoon and evening, I tend to land more on my yoga mat, on a yoga block or cushion with a blanket wrapped around me sometimes if I'm getting cold. Where you meditate is going to matter. And over time, by documenting this, over time, you're going to see that you gravitate towards a certain location. And that's going to really help to reinforce the habit of meditating because you will see when and where you should be meditating. And it won't be something that you force, it'll come around naturally. And what's really wonderful about that is you can then reinforce that habit by landing in the same place and time. Type and length. The kind of meditation will change. And we're going to be sampling so many different kinds together. You're going to gravitate towards something that works for you. So, oftentimes, when someone tells me, oh, I can't meditate, I'm not good at it, what I'm hearing is I haven't played around and explored all the possibilities to find what works for me right now in my life, in my current chapter. So, for instance, I began with breath work, pranayama. That was my beginning introduction to meditation. But when my life unraveled, right, a story for another day, when things got really hard and everything around me collapsed, breath work wasn't helping. What wound up helping me was EFT meditation, emotional freedom tapping, and I still gravitate towards it when things get hard. So, the type of meditation that you do, the amount of time, what is that sweet spot for you? Again, that's going to help reinforce the habit of meditation. And then, after we establish this, we can do one of two things. One thing that we can do is we can set an intention for the meditation. Oftentimes, just showing up with curiosity is all you really need. But some people love having affirmation cards. These are really fun. I found these on Amazon and I'll drop that link in the description below. No affiliation for me there. I just like this brand. I like the colors, I like the style. I love this. So on the front, oh, there's two. They're stuck together. What's this one? Oh, I like that. I'm strong enough to overcome any obstacle. So on the front is an affirmation, and on the flip side are some things to consider, some questions that you can consider there. And I really like that idea. Here's a fun one. I'm grateful for what I have. And it's a great way to practice gratitude. What am I most grateful for? How do I show gratitude? And you make a little list. So some people like to actually, this is perfect because some people like to partner gratitude with meditation. So what you can do is, if this appeals to you, before you begin your meditation, after you've done this part, you can list all the things that you're grateful for or any reflections or affirmations that are calling to you, and then go into the meditation with that beautiful energy and intentionality. You don't have to. You can just do this and sit and be curious and land and begin. And then after the meditation, we really do need to reflect. And these can be single words, these can be phrases, it can be a list, it could be a whole paragraph, completely up to you. And you'll notice that some days you have a lot to say, and some days you don't have very many things to say. And that's okay. So the first thing we do is we think about how the body felt during meditation, the physical body. Were you tired, stiff, restless? Are you aching? Right. So sometimes when I'm really ill, this will show up. Right. I had a sinus infection. It was hard to breathe. I didn't sleep well. I was falling asleep. My hips hurt. I didn't warm up before I sat down. Right. So it's good to see what's happening with the body. Same with the mind and the feelings. What is arising for us as we're meditating? What are we thinking of? What intruding thoughts have burst in? What aha moments? Because sometimes you'll have these wonderful epiphanies during meditation. And so, as the mind and the feelings are settling, rising, we don't chase them, we observe them, and they move through us, we'll be left behind with some clarity, usually. So, pay attention to what's rising up. Are we distracted? Are we tired? Are we yawning? Right? That's important to note. And then good things. What wonderful things went well? What went well with your practice? Were you able to arrive in stillness a lot easier? Were you able to sit for longer today? Were you proud of yourself for squeezing in that meditation when you didn't think you were going to get to it? And that's going to be wonderful because that is a testimony to the hard work that you're doing. So, this right here, we don't want to forget to celebrate all the little things that are going well and the big milestones, because ultimately, this is an archive, a collection of your wonderful progress and your learning and your growth. And then over the weeks and days of doing this, you'll start to see a pattern emerging. So, for example, if you're practicing really late at night and you're super tired, you're probably going to notice it in your body and in your feelings and your minds. You're probably going to see that this was not the right time of day to meditate. And that's important to note as we progress and get curious and play around. I hope you'll try this with me, and you'll see in my videos that I usually have my notebook near me because I don't want it to get away from me. So if it's right next to me, super easy to grab and jot down a few things, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. I hope you'll give it a shot and land with me in our first day of our 10-day meditation challenge. I'll see you there. And don't forget, leave me some comments. I'd love to know what you're using, how it's going, what kind of notebook, any wonderful pens that are working for you. Are you illustrating? Are you decorating? What are you doing with your journal? It's yours. It's there to celebrate your journey. It's your collection. I'd love to hear about it. And then land with me on day one. I'll see you there.